What media are you talking about that's anti-Trump?
You're not familiar with the anti-Trump media?
You're not familiar with the fact that you guys control for everything
of
from
all
podcasts?
the things I've heard you say out here, that might be the nuttiest.
Scott,
believe me, there's plenty of anti-Trump media.
She's trying to pay you. I'm trying to pay conservatives. What I'm basically trying to say is that you guys have taken.
The poll was wrong. Many of the polls are wrong. They've been wrong for many cycles. But it's not like this is the only thing that has been said in the news from either side that is not true.
I hate to say it, but Scott is actually right about this one. I hate to say it because Scott and I very rarely agree on anything. He's right. He's right. He's right about this in the fact that sloppy journalism, sloppy polling, and what they did. Look, I was the recipient of more than 100 lies. And I understand what Trump is doing in terms of changing the way defamation cases are brought in this country. You may remember the allegations. I was in Prague, never been to Prague. I was in Czechoslovakia. I paid $10 million to Kompromat. I have a house next to Putin in Sochi. None of this is true. On top of that, there was another one that came out as an example where I allegedly was paid $400,000 by Poroshenko to create a meeting between him and Donald Trump during the presidency. That is also not true.
So do you think it should be easier? You believe it should be easier?
No, I think that media has to do their job. They have to actually, they need to get the facts right.
But wait a second.
Wait.
Legacy media is scared that Donald Trump they're bracing for impact because Donald Trump decided to sue the Iowa pollster that put out that he would lose Iowa to Kamala Harris. I've already forgot the pollster's name, Anna something. In an effort to, the defamation case. I mean, the media has been put on notice since then. Many people, such as myself, encourages Donald Trump to do this. And I think the reason why is we're tired of the mainstream media abusing their position of credibility and authority to push libel and pretend that it's fact. Oh, Donald Trump said that there was fine people on both sides. That was a blatant lie. You should be sued for that. That's defamation. Because many people use that as a claim to say that Donald Trump is a racist. And they have no facts, no evidence to back it up. Oh, it was reported by CNN. My liberal cousin will tell me when I tell her that was a lie. Essentially using appeals to authority to not to disprove, but to create a perception that someone is something. That is defamation. That's the very definition of defamation. And this is why Trump won. And now Trump's on a little momentum shift right now. And as you saw from the intro, the panelist that we're going to react to with Scott Jennings, she was like, what anti-Trump media? Are you shitting me? Journalism, a profession that only has 3.2% of the time, a conservative or Republican, where if you look at journalism, a conservative journalist is an endangered species in journalism. The same media apparatus where if you look at the coverage of Trump, 89% of the news coverage on Trump was negative. But this liberal panelist is going to sit here and try to educate you about the realities of what's actually going on in the political. Come on. I live in the world of reality. I don't live in imagination. And time and time again, this is just me as an independent thinking about this. I'm a conservative, but I'm an independent, not a party affiliated. One of the biggest issues I have with our current press and the people and the panelists that they put on is that they try to sell a perception. They're not actually trying to inform something in reality and then give me a proper perspective on it, if you guys get what I mean. But this is political as Trump sues the free press braces. Now, let's look at the comment section. This free press is also a deeply corrupted partisan press that is propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. They aren't the free press. They are paid Democrats' propaganda machine. Remember, I don't need to prove anything else. X is more politically balanced than YouTube. All right, I already showed that's fact now. 88% of people on X are Democrat, 47% of people on X are Republican, 48% of the people on X is Democrat. That's political balance. So if you got on X a bunch of people lambasting the free press because they're here defaming Donald Trump, essentially, right? And before I go into the full clip that I want to react with you all here, let's check out a little snippet that kind of encapsulate how conservatives are reading the situation. Let's take a look.
One of the reasons Republicans are cheering on this muscular attitude from Trump and pushing back against some of this is because Republicans feel like constantly media organizations, especially in the throes of campaigns, work overtime to create false narratives that may shape the contours of the election. Look what happened. When this poll came out in Iowa, the entire English-speaking world was talking about the gold standard pollster, and Harris has this momentum, and ultimately what we were told was complete garbage. And if you talked to pollsters at the time, they would have told you, this is not real, this methodology is not good anymore. But that's not what people chose to run with because it fit what most people in the press wanted the narrative to be. So he's pushing back on that. I don't, frankly, have a problem with it. And if they capitulate, it's because they don't want to go through the discovery and what that might show.
Media, honestly, they have a bias problem. Corrupt legacy media paid for by deep state Democrats, right? Here's a report. The Biden administration paid Reuters $300 million in government contracts. 11 different Biden agencies targeted Elon's businesses. All 11 paid agencies were paid millions to Reuters. Reuters then won Pulitzer Prize for their work on Elon Musk and misconducts of his businesses. This conflict of interest, this doesn't perceive bias from the media. This is why many people believe, I remember when PBS, I forget, was it PBS? They got mad that Elon wanted to put like this little side note saying, government funded. And they said, we're not government funded. They make up a small fraction of our budget. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be accepting any money from nobody politically connected to a political party. But this is the Democratic Party for you. Liberal journalism is already known as the most liberal profession in America, in the world, actually. Look it up. If you don't want to believe me, look it up. Since 2018, it's been acknowledged, it's been known that journalism is the most liberal profession. And instead of finding processes to check their own biases when they're covering their political opposition, right? Another example of their sloppy journalism. Prisoner CNN helped free from Syrian prison was actually a notorious Assad regime torturer. Putting out fake news, fake stories. And then you, as an individual, like as an independent like myself, the media wants me to sit here and believe that they're a victim, that Trump is weaponizing the law against them, when how I see it is Trump is holding you guys accountable. Because for too long, you've been getting away with sloppy narratives, sloppy journalism, sloppy polling, right? To craft the narrative that is anti-Trump. And you can't deny that you're anti-Trump when only your profession only has 3.2% of them Republicans. On the panel, I always complain about Abby Phillips' panel. She always has the conservative outnumbered, which perpetrates a liberal narrative. Oh, look, more people on the panel agree with the left than on the right because it was set up that way. I don't know if Abby Phillips has control over that. Who knows? But Scott Jennings still holds his own. But Democrats never recognize that. Hey, this is not a really balanced panel. But they don't recognize that because they believe everything follows their perception. The only political group out of the Democrats, independents, Republicans, only Democrats, majority of Democrats trust the legacy media. All the other political groups don't. Independents don't trust the mainstream media. Republicans definitely don't trust the mainstream media. And all the Democrats, Pikachu face surprised that Kamala Harris lost the election. But enough of me ranting.
I think that media has to do their job. They have to actually, they need to get the facts
But wait a
right.
second.
Because
Wait.
we were right. And that's always wrong.
It was wrong, but guess what else was wrong? All the polls of 2022. And none of those pollsters are...
They weren't all wrong.
And you were wrong in 2022, Scott, because you said there was going to be a red wave.
I never said that. I never said
Twitter,
that.
do your thing. Run the clips.
If you lie right there, Scott should sue you for defamation. Like, it's not about the suit. I don't think the lawsuit is actually meant to actually do something. It's to put journalists on notice, like, hey, you can't keep getting things wrong and not be held accountable for at least a public apology, acknowledging, hey, we were wrong about this. We saw it wrong. Like, I do that. Like, I like to brag on my channel that when I get something right, but I acknowledge things like when the red wave, I thought, abortion is not that big of an issue. And Democrats held their own. I was like, I guess abortion was a big issue because I underestimated abortion during 2022. But 2024, I was like, nah, abortion's not an issue now because it's too bad now. Like 2022, people are still believing the narrative. Yeah, inflation is transitory. You know, Roe v. Wade just happened, so it was fresh. With that context given, I kind of ignored abortion as an issue in 2022 because I thought the red wave was coming. But I was in Florida. You know, we won by 19%. So, you know, I probably got too warped by my location where I'm at in Florida. You know, the pressures of being a Floridian, that you think the country's going to go the same way you going. Not necessarily. So I checked myself. I said, okay, I got the 2022 election wrong, and I reevaluate. But you don't see that with these liberal panelists. You don't. All you see is deflection, whataboutism. Let's change the subject. Let's focus on what we want to focus on, but not focus on what the merits of the conservative has to say. And this is this dismissive behavior that starts to annoy me about many Democratic supporters, many Democratic voters. My mom does this a lot. That they don't care about what you have to say. They care about what they have to say, what they want you to. They want you to acknowledge their points, but they don't want to acknowledge your points. It's a two-way street here. Last time I checked, that's human decency, two-way street. You don't want to acknowledge anything I bring up, but you think you're the only one that matters in the world. This is the perception that many Democrats have branded themselves as. Self-centered, only care about their party, only doing things their way. And you wonder why the country turned against y'all. Let the video continue.
Because people said that there was going to be a red wave, and there wasn't. And so when you make predictions, which is what we get paid to do, is to read the tea leaves and determine, it is not something that should rise to the occasion of litigation.
You know what, Scott, how many campaigns have you done? I've done 100 million, and probably you have too, right? Every time you get a bad poll, are you supposed to sue the pollster now?
It's not about the poll. It's not about the poll. But look what happened. It came out from a person who has a lot of credibility. Virtually every single panel I was on for the last week of the campaign led with, well, look at this poll.
Oh, my God.
So it wasn't the poll. It's the second, third, and fourth order narrative.
Listen. The number. I'm sorry.
And it's just
So what?
What? So what?
It's free speech.
What about Scott? I mean, what about free speech? I mean,
no. See, this is one thing I hate what Democrats do. They want to hold us to our standard, but they don't want to hold themselves to their own standard. You said free speech, but there's no such thing as free speech without consequences. This is the left. Follow your own moral code. You said, right, when we saying, oh, hate speech is free speech. Oh, well, the hate speech, you still have to, you have free speech to say what you want, but you don't have the freedom to not face consequences for it. Follow your own moral standards. Don't sit here and try to appeal to that's one thing I can't stand with Democrats and liberals. They love to appeal to conservatives' principles. The Bible says you shouldn't judge. Actually, the Bible says that if I'm not willing to be judged, I shouldn't judge. That's what the Bible actually says, but you're here Bible twisting. Y'all doing the same thing, Democrats. I have a tendency to try to escape accountability. When Trump was making all these statements, isn't it irresponsible for the president of the United States to be saying these things? This was you one moment. And now he's hitting y'all with lawsuits, and now y'all want to say, well, so what? So what if he said an unproven claim? Doesn't mean it's false. Trump was saying a bunch of unproven claims. Y'all immediately believe it was false because he couldn't prove them to be true. Make it make sense. What kind of argument is that? Because I don't have the ability to prove my statements are automatically perceived as false? This is the liberal media for you. And I think the reality is they just don't want accountability. That's what the reality is. They don't want to be held accountable. And people are tired of the Democrats not being held accountable. People are tired of the mainstream media not being held accountable because many Americans do not trust the mainstream media. Remember, I talked about it a week ago, I think. Mainstream's trust is at the same level as a lawyer. People are likely to trust a lawyer more than the mainstream media, but here they are still trying to make excuses for themselves and their industry. But I digress.
I thought that this was the Republican Party of say what you want. Let's debate it in the public square. Let's have the conversation. Now let's only have the conversation if you're 100%, prescient and correct in that moment. It was a bad poll. It was a wrong poll. The media discussed it. So what?
Do you know what I'm so tired of, Scott?
You discussed it, but you didn't take accountability for it. Like, they say apologizing goes a long way. The media is not sincere. It's not authentic. I think that's why many people rather get their news from individual content creators such as myself. There's bigger platforms out there, but they rather get their news from someone because they're like, yo, I know Kenny could be wrong about something. I don't have this like perception or this imagination of Kenny that he gets everything right. I don't, but we just discuss. We have conversations on the comment section. I read your comments to get feedback, and it helps. Like it's a very substantive collaboration. And that's what the mainstream media, the legacy media lacks. It lacks that collaboration because these people, like, I think what will help the show, Kenny, stop, I hear someone in the comment section saying, Kenny, stop getting the legacy media advice. But what would really help the panel is if they have a live feed of what people are commenting and how they're reacting to what's being discussed here. I think that would help their show a lot to kind of break this little pie in the sky, elitist kind of atmosphere that's around the table right now, as you're going to hear this lady open her mouth right now.
The number one cable news network, Fox News. The number one paper by circulation, the Wall Street Journal. Number 3 paper by circulation, the New York Post. Number 1 person on the radio, Sean Hannity. The number 1 person on the podcast, Joe Rogan. All of these people are Trump supporters. What media are you talking about that's anti-Trump?
You're not familiar with the anti-Trump media?
You're not familiar with the fact that you guys control for everything
of
from
all the
podcasts?
things I've heard you say out here, that might be the nuttiest.
Scott,
believe me, there's plenty of anti-Trump media.
Scott.
One thing about liberals is they only want to look here. They only want to look towards the direction of the conservatives, the Republicans. They only want to look there. But we're saying, look what's going on behind you. Look at the chaos and destruction that happened behind you. They go, that's nothing. They're just a little rowdy. And they just want to focus here. Here, that's it. Like, if you look at corporate media, the left-wing people, they outnumber the right-wing people. There's only one Fox News. You got CNN, MSNBC, ABC, we found out, NBC. All these are left-wing people. Reuters, Axios leans left. You outnumber us. And then all the right-wing channels, all the right-wing outlets, they're smaller in size, like the New York Post compared to the New York Times, right? They're smaller. Washington Examiner, I could throw a lot of other news outlets. Daily Wire's slowly coming up, but they're seen more like a startup kind of news media company. We're growing now, but you still currently, with the current infrastructure, if we're only counting corporate media press, you still outnumber the conservative. Conservatives, the only ones, Fox News. But you're here pretending, oh, you want to only focus on what you don't have. And that's the problem with the Democrats. They only want to focus on what they don't have. They don't focus on what they do have and how they abused it to the point that people and their credibility is down the floor.
Hey,
I'm trying. What I'm basically trying to say is that you guys have taken over the airwaves. You guys have taken over the radio airwaves. You guys have taken over podcasts. You guys have taken over pretty much, and now you're sitting here complaining because all you guys do is whine and complain. Your entire raison d'etre is have grievances. You don't actually think about leading. You just think about having grievances.
So I take this like, let's say my wife has an issue with me and I keep repeating the problem and and she keeps telling me, stop doing this, stop doing this. And I keep saying, all you do is whine and complain because you keep doing it. And this is the problem with the left. This is the problem with the Democrats. Y'all don't know how to self-reflect. Y'all don't know how to take criticism. Y'all don't know how to take feedback and actually become better for it. Instead of you guys pretend that you want unity, you don't want the political divide, but you don't make any steps to meet in the middle with the other side. This is the problem. And then you want to complain that the Republicans complain a lot, that the Republicans have to resort to lawsuits to get you to understand you can't keep doing this. You want to talk about unity, but you can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing things that will politically divide the country, like spreading sloppy narratives, sloppy journalism, putting out sloppy information on the airwaves. And then when you get proven wrong a couple months later, like with the border situation in Colorado about these gangsters from Venezuela taking over the apartment complexes over there, and you got like you're eating crow, but you don't even have the decency to acknowledge that you're eating crow. And that's the problem. Too egotistical. Too much ego in the Democratic Party. Too much ego on the left. They think they know everything. I hear there's some left-wing guy trying to take a dump on Joe Rogan because he thinks Joe Rogan's too moderate. Joe Rogan just plays both sides. He's mad about Joe Rogan and his influence. All I see is bitterness on the left. And I think that's why leftism never really attracted me whatsoever. But here they are projecting. Like I say, every accusation is a confession. Let's continue.
Grievances against the media.
I'd like
against
to add
anybody
a
who's
grievance
anti-Trump.
if I could.
Go ahead, please. Because I can keep going here.
Just another grievance is that Republicans are frustrated. They feel as though the media has been out against them. Some of that is social media, some of that is influencers, some of that is just false narratives. And I think that this poll was just sort of the final straw, and people felt like it was somehow deliberate. That there was a deliberate attempt.
That's the word of the day, deliberate. What happens when it was deliberate? That's the whole point that Donald Trump is trying to explore right now. What happens when that deliberate fake poll comes out and does actually alter? Now, by the way, you forgot about X, you forgot about Truth Social,
Thank you. Yes,
and so
thank
on.
you.
But what happens when it is deliberate? And that's why I believe that ABC ended up folding, because they did not want Discovery to take place.
Yeah.
There's no other reason, as far as I'm concerned.
They
as to why
folded
did.
because they wanted to suck up to Donald Trump.
We
No,
gotta
no.
go, Michael.
Excuses. They want to suck up Donald Trump. No. See, this is the dismissal that I'm talking about. I just finished complaining about it. She immediately went to the tactic that I hate the most. Oh, no. They just wanted to suck up to Donald Trump. No, I'm going to be nice. No, because it would verify every speculation people have about the media that they intentionally do this. And if Trump had his hands, if let's say Discovery went through and Trump had his hands on evidence that the ABC News was intentionally framing Donald Trump negatively, Trump would have been out for blood for the rest of you. And y'all know it. And you know it. But you want to pretend, oh no, they just want to suck up to Donald Trump. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Mainstream media once again in Trump's good favor. Okay. PBS got mad when Elon Musk was exposing the fact that they were getting paid from government subsidies. Like they were getting government contracts from the government. They were getting money from the government. They got mad about that. And they said, it's only a small percentage of our budget. Okay, but why are you so mad that Elon Musk put it out that you got funding from the government? Because it knows it hurts their credibility. It hurts the perception that it actually boasts the perception that many people have that a lot of these news outlets are Democratic propaganda machines, because they're not here to inform us of the truth. They're here to inform us of a narrative that they want us to have. And when the majority of journalists are Democrats, liberals, it's hard to not assume that you're out to get the guy, especially when we look at the fruits of your labor. You'll know a tree by its fruit. You'll know a person by its fruit. You'll know an industry by its fruit. And the fruits are in. 89% of negative coverage on Donald Trump and 87% of positive coverage on Kamala Harris. But media don't have a bias. Yeah, okay. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like what you hear? Do you like how Scott Jennings countered a lot of their points? Do you believe that the media is biased? And is that an objective position or not? Do you agree with Donald Trump essentially threatening suits against many of these news outlets as they brace for impact over being held accountable? Or do you think this is merely political? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.